Welcome to the Bible in 1 Year with Uchidoayi, and I'm your host, Uchidoayi. So today we're gonna change things up a bit because in all the times I have read this Bible, I read the most bizarre thing today. It's so bizarre that I need to dedicate uh, some time to it. So I'm gonna break up today's session into two. Every every day I follow the Bible guide, the daily Bible guide, this daily Bible guide, and every day we look at an Old Testament, a New Testament, a Psalm, and a Proverb. But today, the issues are so I can't gloss over it. So I just need to. I'm going to break it into parts one and two. And in part one, I'm going to look at the Old Testament and the book of Proverbs, then the New Testament and the book of Psalms. Two different parts, okay? So, very quickly, we're looking at the duties of the. Today, we're going to be the summary is that we're looking at the duties of the Levites and then dealing with unfaithfulness and suspicion of an unfaithful wife. Ha! You guys will not believe what I saw today. You won't believe it. Thank you for those who joined me live the last session. Please share with other people. Subscribe. I'm going to be doing this for 1 year because every single day I'm reading the Bible cover to cover using this as my daily guide. Um, if you someone once told me after watching one of the episodes that the passages are too many, I'm like, I'm sorry, this is what I'm using. But if you want to do this, you can find a simpler passage where they just go from chapter to chapter, chapter to chapter, regardless of whatever. But the writers of this, I think, just wanted to make sure you were reading the entire part of the Bible, who are not and they are not necessarily related. All right, so duties of the Levites. We're reading the first Old Testament today, and we're reading Numbers chapters 4 and 5, Numbers chapters 4 and 5, and then Proverbs chapters 10 and 20 verses 26. So very quickly, the duties of the Levites. Basically, last week we talked about. Yesterday we talked about the many the different the troops, the tribes that the numbers. They were talking of the numbers of the people who would be in every tribe who were like fighting or fighting ages 20 to 60. Today we have narrowed the numbers. Now we are looking at the Levites. The Levites were not numbered yesterday. The Levites were numbered today. And God gave Moses the instruction that the Levites ages 30 to 50 are the ones who will be handling temple duties. So these were a few things that they said. This is not the bizarre part. Though. I'm coming to the bizarre part of the story. Please just hang in there. You won't believe it. You won't believe it, honestly. So different duties were assigned to the Levite groups. The three main groups listed here were the Kohat, let me look for it now before I mispronounce it. I can't find why it's Kohath, the Kohath clan. The Kohath clan. So they will carry the sacred objects. They would carry things like the Ark of Covenant. They would Aaron, and so every single time, right? Right now the Israelites are in the wilderness. So every single time they have to move, the Kohath clan are responsible for carrying the things in the Holy of Holies, the sacred things. Okay, so basically whenever it's time to move, Aaron and his sons must enter the tabernacle and take down the inner curtains, everything, all those little things that were set up, then wrap the Ark of Covenant in a fabric, and then cover it with goat skin and then leather, and then wrap it with a single piece of cloth, a blue cloth. So basically all the things that are in the inner Holy of Holies include the bread of presence, bowls, ladles, jars, pitchers, and carrying poles. They also have lampstands, lamp trays, accessories, and carrying frames. All of those things are covered with a fabric, a big, so I guess that's what the blue fabric was for. The blue fabric, and then covered in leather goat skin, round. The leather goat skin is just to keep dust probably and to keep it clean, and then placed on the carrying frame. So every single time the Israelites needed to move, the Kohath clan will go into the Holy of Holies and wrap up all of these things. Aaron and his sons will wrap all of these things. The Kohath clan will go in and carry them. Also, among the things that they were carrying to include the ashes that are scraped out of the, what's that thing called now? Okay, let me just keep it. I forget. I can't find where. So many things to talk about today. So I jotted that. I just squeezed everything in here. So ashes, utensils, fire pans, shovels, basins, containers, all of them. These other ones for the sacrificial, the altar where the sacrifices are made, are wrapped in purple cloth, and then of course the goat skin, and placed on the carrying frame. Everyone, they're not supposed to touch anything. They're not supposed to leave. They shouldn't even go in and look. What's going on here? I want to see what's happening there. They're not allowed to do that. If they do that, they will die. So Moses, Aaron and his sons are the only ones allowed. Even Moses is no longer given access into that place. Even Moses is not given access. Their job is to carry and transport. And Eleazar, Aaron's son, is responsible for that. Then we have the Gershonite tribe, who are responsible for general services and carrying loads, like extra things. Their roles include maybe courtyard curtains, tabernacle covers, ropes, equipment, all of that. Then the Merarite clan will carry the frames, crossbars, posts, ropes, pegs, bases, all of that. All of these people were within the ages 30 to 50. And a total of about 8,580 men from the Levite clan were dedicated to 5,000. 8,000. Do you know how many that is? Wow. That means this temple business was really big business. So 8,580 people were assigned, were listed, that could handle all of these carrying duties. All right. Okay, so moving on to purity. The issue of purity was now discussed in Numbers verses chapters 5. So it says, God tells Moses, I want the camp to be pure. So remove people with skin diseases, basically infectious diseases, really. Skin diseases, any discharges, remove them. Now, if they sin in any form, the sins have been listed in the past, they must confess their sin and then restitute that sin. If they sin and they are found guilty, they must confess their sin, restitute the sin, and then pay 20% extra on top of the restitution. So if you steal someone's goat, you must return the goat and then pay 20% extra on the goat. Okay? In restitution, if the person is dead, then you restitute to the temple. So if you are that's new. Also, so if you maybe you hurt someone very badly and now the person is dead and then there's no family member and you have a change of heart, or you've been found guilty and you need to restitute and there's no one to restitute in the family, you bring the restitution to the church. That's what Moses says here. And then if you're found guilty, you bring a ram for sacrifice. Now let's talk about the bizarre part. The bizarre part talks about unfaithfulness. If a man, okay, so I skipped them narrating because they tried to help us understand that this thing probably must have happened. So the way they wrote it in the Bible, it was written that a woman who was married went to have sex with another man and the husband does not know, and she comes back and everything appears like it's okay, but he starts to suspect. It is assumed that the man will probably suspect. I'm not sure why, but he will. So he starts to suspect, right, that she's unfaithful. He is to bring that his wife to the priest and to tell the priest that he suspects that she has been around. Long story. So he brings her to the priest and brings an offering of 2 quarts of barley flour for her, olive oil without frankincense, as a jealous offering. That's the first. As a jealous offering. She is to stand trial before the Lord. Holy water mixed with tabernacle dust will be kept aside, while the priest will loosen her hair. Now, I can't even begin to think. I can't loosen her hair. So I think that they were conditioning women to see loose, free-flowing hair as something to be. Okay, let me not give my opinion. Sorry. Let's stick to the notes. Loosen her hair, and then put the jealous offering in her hands, the barley. Put the jealous offerings in her hands, and then give her a jar of bitter water. That bitter water, I don't know what the bitter water is, but a jar of bitter water. And then hold on. A jar of bitter water that can curse her. Like if she, okay, so let me not go ahead of myself. The guilty, if she's proclaimed, so the priest will now say, give her the jar of bitter water. So the priest will now say, if any man has known you, you haven't gone astray. If no man has known you, haven't gone astray, you haven't defiled your bed, you haven't been unfaithful to your husband, and all of the gbogbo, then you consume this bitter water. You will not be consumed by the effect of this bitter water. So she's expected to drink the bitter water. Doesn't this thing sound familiar? I've heard of these things in local traditions around my country in the past. So she's expected to drink the bitter water, and he'll put her under the oath, saying, may God curse or make you infertile, may he make your womb shrivel, and may your abdomen swell if you are found guilty. So how are you found guilty? If you drink the bitter water, your abdomen will swell, and it will probably cause you to become infertile. But if you are not guilty, nothing will happen to you. And the woman is to say amen. So a curse, this thing he just pronounced is now written down and washed into the bitter water, and is given to her to drink. And then she'll stand before God and the oath is taken and all of that. So she takes the portion of the bitter water, and if she's guilty, she starts to swell. I don't know whether it's immediately or maybe when they go back home or whatever. If she's not guilty, her tummy will not swell. But if her tummy swells and she becomes infertile, she will be a curse among her people. So everybody will now know, oh, that woman, she was accused of her husband. The reason why she's infertile is because her stomach swelled when they took her on suspicion, jealous offering, I don't know what to call it now, but jealous offering stuff. And so because of that, she has been an unfaithful wife. And everybody will know that you're an unfaithful person. This law is for dealing with an unfaithful wife. The man is absolved of anything. This is the most bizarre thing I have read in the Bible. If a man suspects his wife, you know what I think? I think that if a man wants to get rid of his wife, or he wants to hurt her, he can lie that he suspects she's been unfaithful. And she can be made to drink that thing that they are drinking. And that thing can render her infertile. You know why? Because I think Jesus had to speak about it somewhere in the New Testament. You know, about people looking for excuses to get rid of their wives. Maybe he wants to marry a new wife, I don't know. You know, it's a very bizarre law that I feel very confused. Did God actually say this thing? Because no, I said it before, and please don't whatever your opinions are yours. These are my thoughts. Why? So if a man now discovers that his suspicions were unfounded and they're giving her this thing to drink, what if she reacts to it? I know they say something like if she's not guilty, she won't swell. We all have different body. Not everybody eats pineapple. Some people react to pineapple. So if they're not, I don't know. Did God really say this thing? Is it Moses? Like, is it this Moses laws? Like, this is hard to digest, because I'm sure that innocent people were put on this cross. Innocent people were charged with this crime. It's very hard to swallow. First off, I'm glad I wasn't born then, and Jesus kind of like debunked so many things. And so that's why, please stay with me and watch part 2, because in the New Testament, you will hear another marriage story and the way Jesus debunks it. So I'm like, Jesus is debunking some of these rules. What does this mean? Does it mean that some of these rules they were given by Moses, not necessarily like among the laws given by God, like the 10 Commandments? No, really, because this is the topic of conversation. And if you have any feelings about this, please put it in the comments. Say something in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Because I have every single day I read some of these laws, I'm convinced that they are secondary laws. They are not the laws that were given. They were the laws that Moses had to, in order to create order and like constitution for the camp. He created those laws, and of course God supported him because Moses had been given a lot of authority, but some of the laws are so bizarre. They don't make sense. They don't make sense to somebody born in our generation. They just really don't. All right, so let's quickly look at the book of, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. This is really, let's look at Proverbs chapters 10, just one scripture. Proverbs chapters 10 verse 26. A vinegar to the teeth, as vinegar is to the teeth, as vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so is a lazy man to those who send him. Oh, yeah. Don't be lazy. So I'll see you in part 2, okay? Meanwhile, share this, subscribe, please leave a comment, let me hear your thoughts. And go read it for yourself if you are not sure what I just read is real. Go read it for yourself. I'll see you in part 2.